of 1D transient okay 1D transient heat conduction or also called a diffusion equation. Okay. So in the beginning, we started with numerical solution of 1D wave equation. Then we saw the stability analysis of schemes, including von Neumann stability analysis. And now we are moving to numerical solution of 1D transient heat conduction diffusion equation. So what is that governing equation? So in first case, we'll see the explicit scheme. Okay, so we'll focus on explicit scheme. Okay, to solve the 1D transient heat conduction problem. Okay, so what is a governing equation? Governing equation for 1D transient heat conduction diffusion equation is like this: del T plus or equals to, you can put, or at alpha del 2T del x2. Okay, this is a one dimensional, this is a transient term, this is a one dimensional term with k by rho Cp, k by that alpha. Okay, now this can be on a domain. So this is on domain which is varying from x. So x we need to specify. So x less than equals to some 0 or less than equals to some L, capital L. Okay, so this is the length scale on which it is. Then what we need is initial conditions. Now here we need some sort of initial conditions, right? We need some initial conditions. So that initial condition over time and complete space. So what is a temperature distribution along this 0 to L at time t is equals to, at time t is equals to 0, that we have to specify. So that will be specified, say that can be something like specified as a function of space, because we want to specify on that space what is the value of at these locations at t is equals to 0. So say some t naught as a function of x. Then the boundary conditions, we need boundary conditions for this d2t by dx2. So if you take boundary conditions, BC stands for boundary condition, IC stands for initial conditions. So boundary conditions are at x. You will have to specify, so that x is equals to what are the location you have. So say x may be left, x may be right, and t at any t. Okay, so we'll have to specify at x is equals to 0, comma t some, so maybe t left as a function of time. Then again, two boundary conditions are required. So maybe you will have to specify at x is equal to L. Other end, what is the boundary condition? Say it is a T R. So such things will be there. And this TLT, TRT can be of three types. As you already know, it can be a Dirichlet boundary condition, right? Dirichlet boundary condition. Second, it can be a Neumann boundary condition. Or it can be a combination of these two, which is called as Robbins or mixed boundary conditions. Mixed boundary condition. Okay, so Dirichlet means you specify the value of that variable. Now variable is t. What is the value of that variable t at that location x and at any time? Okay, t specify what is the value. If you specify the value, then it is a Dirichlet condition. Okay, so suppose t l as a function of. Suppose you specify the derivative. Okay, then k is there, for example, now negative k, then in that case, then it becomes a Neumann boundary condition. Suppose you have a combination of the two, which is like alpha t plus beta del t and del n. So here n normal direction is x is equals to some specified value. Okay, so some specified value. So if that is there, then we say that these are mixed boundary conditions. Okay, so now let us assume some boundary conditions. So let's say this is gamma, okay, or this can be some function gamma. Now let us assume the these are general we are discussing. Now let us consider for this governing equation some boundary conditions. Okay, so say initial condition is, so initial condition say is t as a function of x at t is equals to 0. Say that condition is t naught x, and boundary condition will take something, uh, one boundary condition at okay at t x is equals to 0 comma t. Let us that boundary condition is tl as a function of time, and we'll take another boundary condition at right. So say that is k del t del x, and it is a right boundary condition, uh, which is h t whatever the right value minus t naught, for example. So this is a boundary condition at the right. So this boundary condition, if you simplify this, it will become k dt dx at right plus h tr temperature at right is equals to h t naught. Right. So you can just expand this one and changing the signs, you will get this. So this is the boundary condition. And this is a 1D problem because we have variations along the x direction, and in other directions it is assumed that y and g direction do not have much changes in the variable. So This is a 1D problem. Okay. Now we'll use a discretization on this type of method. So let the discretization, chosen discretization is, say, scheme. We'll use a scheme to solve this problem. We'll use the scheme to solve this problem. You would like, now we know a problem. This is the Gaurni equation, these are the initial condition, these are the boundary condition. So we would like to have a solution of this. So to get the solution, first thing is choose a solution scheme. Solution scheme. And we are already said that we are looking for something like explicit scheme. We are looking for something like explicit scheme. So we'll try to choose a scheme which will be explicit in nature. So solution scheme chosen is, which is called as forward in time and central in space. Okay. So this is forward in time, forward in time and central in space. Okay. So forward difference in time and central difference in space. So what does this mean? What does this mean? So suppose we have a time axis and we have a space axis. Okay. We have suppose a space axis here, and say we have some points here. I mean, in this x direction, we have these grid points. Okay. Say we have some grid points. This is your x is equals to, this is your x is equals to 0th location, and this is your x is equals to lth location, and this is your time axis along which you are moving. So when this t is equals to 0, we have, at t is equals to 0, we have these many things. At t is equals to, we have these many things. Say another t we can have, t is equals to 1, like that, and we can have t is equals to n plus 1, like that. Okay. So say t1, and this is t, I'm just writing like t is equals to t or n plus 1, like that. N is equals to n plus 1 or t is equals to t. We'll follow consistently n plus 1 and say this is nth. So 1 minus of n plus 1. So here also we'll have the same points, right? Space discretization will be same at other times also. So we have these points there. Similarly, all other cases you will have a points there. So let me name some locations. Say this is a ith location. So the previous one will be I minus 1th location. This location will be I minus 1th location. This will be ith location, and this will be I plus 1 location, right? And like that. So let me take this. This is also I minus 1, I and I plus 1 at nth level and n plus 1th level. Okay. So now in this FT, forward in time and central in space. In central space, What do you do is we take these points which are centered at I at nth level. Okay, so a stencil for this FTCS is like this. Okay, to calculate n plus 1th level value at ith location, you take nth level values. Okay, that is the meaning. To calculate n plus 1th level values of variables, you take the values from the nth level. Okay, with central difference. Central difference means around I you need 2 points, and forward difference at I location you need 1 n plus 1 and 1 nth location value. So that is forward in time, this is forward in time. Okay, and central in space is this. So this is a stencil for, this is called a stencil for FTCS. Okay, now in this cases, in this, with this stencil, if you discretize the equations, your discretized version of the equation will look like this. So forward in time means that del t, del t, del t, del t term, which is again calculated at ith location, will be looking like this. Ti, so this I is common, minus another Ti, and delta t will become del t become delta t, but this is forward in time, so time index is shown at the top, n plus 1 and n. And what about other term, that is del 2t, del x2, that is again ith, at ith location you take two terms. Okay, so how, what is the central difference? We already seen that, that is I minus 1 minus twice Ti plus Ti plus 1. Okay, and the index is here also, it is n, it is n, but since it is a forward in time, we took this. Here we are not talking about time, so time is fixed at previous time. So all these values at previous time at different this thing, different difference between I plus 1 and I, like that. So and the lower value is delta x square. Lower value is delta x square. Delta x whole square. You have a alpha here which is outside that. So it is assumed that alpha is a constant. So take alpha outside. Alpha is a constant. Okay. Here in the problem itself, it should be given that alpha is a constant. We should be given here alpha is a constant, 0 to x, and you can write here alpha is a constant, where alpha is equals to constant and positive, or you can say it is a positive constant. If it is a alpha cannot be negative, right? Alpha is a property, it cannot be a negative property. If it is a negative, means the Governing equation is wrong Governing equation. This alpha cannot be negative here. Okay, alpha can never be negative. In your solution, for example, the alpha becomes negative, then you are not going to get the convergence. So that is one thing. Okay, but okay, alpha is assumed to be positive and it is constant, so we taken out, and no discretization is done for that. If it is a function of space or function of time or something like that, then we'll have to deal it appropriately. I think it got hanged. I don't know why. Okay. 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 So this is a discretization. So if you substitute this thing in your Governing equation, it looks like this. So I'll just again rewrite it, everything. Maybe it is a repetition, but we'll just write it. Substitute properly is equals to alpha uh, ti minus 1 minus twice ti plus ti plus 1 all nth level values and delta x square. Okay. Now see here, this is called as implicit scheme. Why it is called as explicit scheme? Okay, why it is called as explicit scheme? You see, we have only one unknown. This is one unknown. N plus 1 is unknown, where n plus 1 is unknown, and nth is known. Okay, so how many unknowns are there? There is only one and only one unknown. Okay, there is only one and only one unknown. Okay, there is only one unknown. There is only one unknown. Only one unknown. And it is expressed in terms of all known values, and it is expressed in terms of known value, in terms of the known values. Okay, if this is the case, if this condition satisfies, then the scheme is called as, an explicit scheme. Okay, so explicit means beforehand, explicit means everything beforehand. So like that. So based on the name itself, explicit, the schemes are called as explicit. So the n plus 1 is expressed in terms of, t variable at n plus 1, unknown value of the variable is expressed in terms of known value. So just we'll put it that we'll arrange this thing and put it in a nice manner, so that unknown will be in the as a function of known. So that no unknown as a function of known can be expressed like this: ti n plus 1 is equals to ti n, yes, plus alpha. And now we can combine this thing and take it out, so that these are coefficients, we bring them outside, and we can have in the bracket ti minus 1 minus twice ti plus ti plus 1 and all nth level values. Okay, so we just make it nice form. So this equation, okay, now you see this equation is only unknown is this ti n plus 1, and all other values are known value, n values are known values. So this is called as explicit scheme. So once you have an explicit scheme, what does it mean? That once you know the known value, you can calculate the unknown value. Similarly, like that, you can keep on calculating unknown values with known values. Okay, so it is just a substitution. It is like an algebraic equation. Just you have to solve once for the known values and get the values. Again, solve for the known values, get the n plus another n value, n plus 2, n plus 3, like that. Keep on increasing. So you'll get all the time level values just by substituting previous time level values. Okay, so this is just a simple substitution. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that it implies that solution is obtained directly by evaluating the right hand side. So it means that solution is obtained directly. Solution is obtained directly by substituting the RHS of each equation. By substituting right hand side of each equation. Each equation. Each equation. Okay, this is not just one equation. Okay, I are many, so these many equations should be there. Okay, and n plus 1 are also there, so those I mean in every time these many equations. Okay, so let us go ahead with this, and these are the points at the interior domains. Okay, so these are for interior points. Okay, this discretization which are we have shown, this is for interior points because at boundaries we already have a boundary conditions. Okay, so for interior points. Why is it not moving? Okay, so this is for interior points. So for interior points. So to repeat again, interior points means points like this. These are the interior points. You see, these are the interior points. This one is an interior point. This is the interior point. This is another interior. This is this, this, this one, this one, this one, this one. But not this one because that is your boundary point. These are your boundary points. So you don't solve that equation here because here you have boundary condition already given a boundary condition. Okay, so say we are moving from I is equals to 1 to I is equals to say n, capital N. Okay, so you have this equation. In that case you have this equation from I is equals to 2 to I is equals to n minus 1. So you have equation I is equals to 2, I is equals to 2 to I is equals to n minus 1. This is I is equals to n minus 1, I is equals to 2. So from I2 to I n minus 1, you have this equation for interior nodes. Okay, so this is for I is equals to, excuse me, why is not moving like this? Okay, so this is for interior points and from, let me write from I is equals to 2, 3, likewise n minus 1. Okay, so for interior points 2, 3, 4, n minus 1. This is an equation. Okay, now let us see at, so we need a boundary condition also. So for left boundary, so what is for left boundary? We have been given a condition, that is T1. So I becomes Ti is equals to 1. So there we have Ti equals to 1 is equals to T left as a function of time T. This is or I mean, it was, I think it is T naught, right? So T left was given as T naught. Just a minute, I'll just see once again. Yeah, T naught. Uh, okay, so it is a T left only. No, keep it, let it be T left. But some specified value has to be there. Uh, okay. But it essentially is a T naught, some T naught value. So here, what is N? What is N? What is N? This is N plus 1. Okay. Because initial condition is given for the cases at all the points X. So uh, this is N plus 1. Okay. At any other time, this is a boundary condition. Okay. But at I is this N is equals to 0, even the boundary condition would have been given as a initial condition there itself. Okay. You understand that? So T I n plus 1, always, you remember, boundary condition are always at n plus 1. Many people make mistake, many people do. So always boundary conditions are calculated after you calculate Ti n plus 1 is coming from this, you see, from these equations, like that, some values like that. Okay, not for left but for right, we'll see. Okay, now for right boundary condition, for right boundary condition, or right BOU, yeah, right boundary, what was the condition? At right boundary you have K del T del R del X, which is at right, which was plus H into TR, okay, H into TR, not a function, is equals to H T naught. This was the value. Now here you see there is a derivative del T by del X at R. R means nth, at n. R is equals to n. So at n, we need to calculate this. Okay. At n point, this was I1, I2, I3, I4, and you had this I is equals to n, right? And this I is equals to 1. So at this nth, you have to calculate the derivative of del T del X R. So if you want to calculate derivative at this, you have, whether you will use forward in space or backward in space. If you want to use forward in space, you should know I is equals to n plus 1 value, capital N plus 1 value. Here it should be known, but here there is no value. Okay, here there is no value to calculate forward time, forward space. So we'll use backward space. So here backward difference. Okay, we'll use backward difference for getting these values. Okay, so when you are using backward difference, what is the time level value for this? As I said, boundary conditions are always at some sort of n unknown values, n plus 1, n plus 1. And this is known value, so it is known. It is nth level value. And assume that h is also constant, k is also constant. H is constant and k is constant. Okay, where h and k, h comma k are constants and known and known. They are known and constants. Okay, T naught is also some specified value. T naught is also specified. This is basically ambient temperature. So specified, T naught is a specified value. So it is also known. So this is a known term. These are unknown. So these are unknowns are always at n plus 1. So both this tr, okay, but h is a constant, so tr is at n plus 1. Okay, so this, how do you write this then? Like this, just I'm showing you here. You can write k del t del x. This has to be discretized at capital N plus constant h. T has to be discretized at n. Okay, and we have a known values h t naught, and this has to be discretized at n plus 1th value and n plus 1th value. Now to do the Tn is already some boundary value, so you don't have to do any finite difference or backward difference, but here is a del t by del x term which need a backward difference. So backward difference of this is k. What is the backward difference you'll get? T. Then you have n minus 1. T n minus 1, right? T n minus 1 minus T n. T n minus 1 T n. Okay. This is I n. This is I n. And this is I n minus 1. I is equals to n minus 1. So whatever the value of temperature here minus value of the temperature here divided by delta x, divided by the delta x, difference between two grid points, and has to be calculated at Tn plus 1. Okay, Tn plus 1. So this is something like implicit delta. Okay, plus h Tn n plus 1 is equals to h t naught. Okay. Now here you see this t and this term, okay, this term you will obtain. This is a interior point. So these are interior points. These are all interior points, right? These are all interior points. So this is also interior point. So interior point values will be obtained from this equation. From this equation. So let me write this equation as equation number 1. This equation as equation number 2. So from equation number 1, we are going to get the values of t n minus 1. Okay. So this also, for this particular equation, this is a known value. So let us write in terms of t, only unknown is tn. Tn n plus 1 is unknown. So let us combine this and try to write. So this expression for tn will become n plus 1 is equals to ht naught plus ht naught plus we'll get tn n minus 1 and n plus 1, so that is coming from that equation, divided by delta x and we have k here. Okay, divided by k delta x plus h. Okay, so what we did is k delta t delta x, this k delta t delta x, we brought it here plus here. We combined this k delta x plus h and commonly took tn n plus 1, and that coefficient was here, so we brought it here and put it here. Okay. So now you see, this is now explicit. Previously it was looking, everything was n plus 1. Okay. So this unknown is expressed in terms of known. Okay. So this is also known. This value is also known. First term is known. This is known. And this is also known from the equation 1. And these are all constant. So these are also known. So this is nothing but explicit now. Okay. So don't, the whole scheme is explicit. Understand, this is explicit expression. Okay, now we got one equation for this. So let this equation is equation number 3. Okay, so now we got all the discretized equation for we got equation number 1 for these points. We got equation number 1 for this point, equation number 2 for this point, and equation number 3 for this point. So we got all discretized equation for all the points, and now our job is to solve these equations. Okay, so how do you solve the algorithm? Solution algorithm is as follows. So solution algorithm. Solution algorithm. So in a solution algorithm, what do you do first is, first we should know, because this is a transient problem, since this is a transient problem, so we should know the values at all, at I values. Okay, at all I, we should know the initial condition at n is equals to 0 or t is equals to 0, time, 0th time. N is equals to 0 means time is equals to 0. At that location, we should know the values of um, the variable. Okay. So first thing first is initialize. First thing first is initialize. Initialize. Okay. So what are the initial condition is given? So in your case, at initialize at n is equals to 0, some condition. So we had been given like ti at n is equals to 0, ti 0 is equals to some value to, and this is for I is equals to 1, 2, 3 up to your end point n. Okay, so for all points. Now once you have initialized, then you have to time step in time stepping. So at n is equals to 0, all values are known from initial condition. So time stepping, we have to go for time stepping. We have to go for time stepping. Time stepping means we want to calculate at n is equals to n plus 1. Okay, time stepping means we have to calculate at n plus 1. So solve equation, or you can say apply equation 1. Equation 1, which to find t ith value at n plus 1, right? Just because t, I, n values are known, just substitute those values and get this. Okay, for I is equals to 2, 3 and n minus 1. Remember, capital N minus 1. Okay, so you have to find out from equation 1 and then apply boundary condition. First boundary condition, apply equation 2 to find left boundary value, to find left boundary value, left boundary value, and which was nothing but t1, right? It was nothing but t1 n plus 1. And then apply equation. Next is to apply equation 3 to find right boundary value. Right boundary value. And what was that right boundary value? T n plus 1, which was capital T n plus 1. Okay, so n and 1, these are boundary points. 1 is left boundary and capital N is right boundary. So this value you can obtain from equation number 3. And then what do you do? So to calculate T in plus 1, you had initial value, then you have to again step. So what you have to do is, the next step is, third step is, you have to say that n is equals to n plus 1. Okay. Initially at n is equals to 0, you calculate n plus 1. Now again you have to say n is equals to n plus 1. So that here when you go to, so now to T2, T3, T4, T5 will start coming. So if you substitute n is equals to n plus 1 here, now it will become Ti2, right? In the first case, it will be like n is equals to 0. It is Ti1, Ti1, T11, Tn1. N is equals to n plus 1. It now becomes Ti2, T12, Tn2. Then n plus 1 again, it will become Ti3, T13, Tn3. N plus 1 increased by 1, T4, T14, Tn4, like that. And you have to keep doing. This is called a time stepping. This is called a time stepping, such a way that at certain n, at some value of n, you get n is equals to 1 and repeat. Okay, repeat till you get some convergence. Okay, repeat in time, repeat till you get, repeat this 2 and 3. Till repeat 2 and 3. I'll just write here, repeat 2 and 3 till we get convergence. We get convergence. Okay, or some specified value of n. Just stop there and just plot convergence. Okay, or to satisfy some convergence with respect to some value. Okay, so this is just very simple, you understand this? So at t is equals to 0, you will calculate the, you know that at n is equals to 0, you have in initial condition, so everywhere it is t naught. Everywhere it is t naught. Everywhere it is t naught. Okay, like this. Everywhere these values were t naught. Grid values were t naught values. And at n plus 1, you will, at n is equals to 2, at n is equals to 1, at n plus 1 means n is equals to 1, you will calculate from these values, you will calculate all these values. So these values will be calculated for your case. These values will be known in n is equals to 1. Now with these known values, you will calculate these values again. N is equals to 2 values. With these values, you will calculate, keep on calculating using that stencil as I drawn like that. We'll keep on calculating these values. You understand my point? Okay. Now at n is equals to 3, again you will use these old values to calculate new values. You will use these old values to calculate new values, and again you will find out n plus 1 values. Okay, you'll keep on doing in time. Okay, you'll keep on calculating in time with known value of these initial condition values. and applying boundary conditions. You'll keep on calculating in time, and you will stop at some point where you do not have change between two values. Say there is no change between 3 and 2, n is equal to 3. So if you do not find any change between these two values, okay, between these two values, then you will stop the solution, stop doing calculation. Okay, if you do not find any change between these two variables, then if you say that it is converged, some sort of convergence criteria, so we'll say converged, but we'll keep on calculating till we get some convergence. So it is simple process. Okay, so you have to write, you can write a program for this, write a computer program for this, and try to get the values and try to plot the values. Okay, you can do this. Okay, what you can do is homework. You can try at your home, write a computer program, write a computer program, any language computer program to implement implement above algorithm. Okay, algorithm. There is no compulsion to submit this homework, but those who wish to submit, please submit to me. Okay. It is a good thing that those who are interested in writing computer programs, they do write a computer program and see these things are working. Then only you will get a very good idea about how CFD works. Okay. Otherwise, you can go ahead with Fluent and like that. And but behind the Fluent, these things are implemented like this. These programs are written. Okay, now when you are doing this, you have to be very careful choosing. I'll choose delta t, delta x. These things are there, right? And we know that this delta t, delta x are subjected to something called as stability. We may not get convergence. We may not get convergence because of this stability condition. Okay, so there is a stability condition which you already already did for using this von Neumann stability analysis. And what did we find there? This alpha, delta t, and delta x whole square having a limit that is called this ratio. This complete ratio should be less than or equal to 2. Okay, so if delta x is known as already, if delta x is fixed, delta x is first chosen or fixed, then delta t can be calculated. Then delta t is calculated as delta t is equals to delta t is equals to or delta t should be less than equals to. So you have to take first equal to and then you have to arrange them such a way that they become, so delta x square divided by twice alpha is the limit on delta t. You can calculate this delta t and go ahead. Okay, so this is how the algorithm of FTCS scheme works. Okay, FTCN CS scheme works like this. Okay, you write, please write, those who are good in programming or even those who may not be, just try using your computer programming skills and write a computer program. And those who wish to submit, please submit me. The same problem can be solved using something called implicit scheme. Implicit scheme. Okay, so what happens in that case? So in that case, this implicit scheme can be be backward in time and central in space. Okay, backward in time and central in space. This is called as backward in time. Backward in time, backward in time and central in space. Okay, so backward in time in central in space, how it is implicit. Okay, so that you can just see from the um, let me draw the way we drawn for our one of the case, and I can go like this. So here, say we have this points, right? Grid points, and all this distance between the grid points is delta x, and this is t is equals to, or n is equals to 0, and this is n is equals to 1, n is equals to 2, like that. So difference between this is delta t. Okay, and we have n is equals to 2 to some sort of n is equals to some t plus 1, maximum t plus whatever. So we move to, but the points remain same, like this, like this, okay, like this, so they remain same, with delta x, and we can say that this is nth point and this is n plus 1. Okay, like that generalization you can do. So now you see what happens in this implicit scheme is, in order to calculate ith level value, so suppose this is I and next point is I plus 1. So this is I plus 1, and this is I minus 1, I minus 1. Okay, so everywhere if you go I, this is I, then this is I minus 1, this is I plus 1. So suppose this is I. So in that case, to calculate that ith level value, this particular stencil is used. Okay, this particular stencil is used. So when you take a special derivative, when you take a special discretization, you are using n plus 1th level values to calculate the n plus 1th level values at this location. Okay, however, in case of the time, you are using backward in time, because you know the present and then you are taking backward in time. So you take the backward in time. In previous case, it was forward in time. Okay, so when you take forward in time, your special values were nth location. When you take backward in time, then your special values will be at n plus 1th level value. Okay, rather than having that another stencil. In previous case, what was our stencil? In previous case, our stencil was like this. Our stencil was this one, right? This was our stencil in case of explicit, and this is the stencil for implicit. This is the stencil for implicit. And this LO1 was a stencil. This was a stencil for explicit, isn't it? Now with this stencil, this equation, our equation will look like this. Our equation will look like this. How does it look? This del t will be calculated at I, but it will be calculated at n plus 1. Okay, is equals to alpha del 2t del x2 will again be calculated at I plus but at n plus 1. Okay, now if you discretize this one using backward in time and centrally in space, so backward in time means n plus 1 minus n. So n plus 1 minus n will become like t I minus t I, but n plus 1 minus n divided by delta t is equals to alpha. Here, this discretization will become t I minus 1 minus twice t I plus t I plus 1, but n plus 1. So all values will be at n plus 1, n plus 1, n plus 1, and delta x square. Okay. So you see, what do you see here? There are many unknowns, n plus 1 values, and only one known. Okay. So in this case, many unknowns are there. N plus 1, n plus 1 was n plus 1 is unknown or unknowns, and n are known. Okay. So you see, what do we see here is we have many unknowns and only one known. Okay, so if we have many unknowns, many unknowns means more than one. Okay, more two. There can be 2, 3, 4. Okay, so like 2, 3, 4, or any. If many unknowns than knowns, then the scheme is called as implicit. Okay, implicit means after some it's not known before, it's like after the effect. So like it's not specified beforehand. Explicit is like beforehand it is specified. So explicit schemes. So what does it mean? It means that we cannot calculate the values of n plus 1 value just by specifying nth level value. Okay, so we have to perform simultaneous. No, we have to simultaneously. We have to solve all the interior points for all solve for all the interior points, solve for all the interior points, to solve the equations simultaneously. Okay, simultaneously. In the previous case, it was like just substitute, get the value or new value, and like that. But now here, this ti n plus 1, ti minus 1, ti plus 1 is also there. So you have to find out this also, this also simultaneously at that time. Okay, so simultaneously we have to find I minus 1, I plus 1 value to get the n plus 1th level value. So we have to go for some sort of iterative procedure. We have to solve for some sort of iterative procedure. Okay, we have to go for some sort of iterative procedure. And boundary condition, discretization, these things will remain same except this change. Okay, boundary condition again, you will have boundary condition the same like that, and we would like to solve these equations. Okay, so uh, tomorrow I think we'll continue. I think we are lagging we have crossed the time. So tomorrow we'll see this, okay, implicit discretization using now the scheme called as BTCS, okay, implicit scheme. Whenever implicit scheme we say, then you must say that it is a BTCS. And FTCS means explicit scheme. And for explicit scheme, you have a stability limit, but for implicit scheme, we do not have stability limit. You can check. So those who are, they can do homework. Okay, it is a homework. Okay, for this scheme, for BTCS, for backward in time centralization, for BTCS, so that this so that it is so that show that it is a unconditionally conditionally unconditionally stable scheme. Yeah, stable scheme. This you try to do using von Neumann stability analysis. You write a error equation for this kind of equation, and then you take the assume the error solution of Fourier mode type, the first solution only, first mode only, and then you substitute those values and write it in the form of amplitude ratio from n plus 1 time to known nth level time, and then see that they put the condition that amplitude magnitude of the amplitude ratio should not be it should follow the less than equal to 1 criteria, and under that condition you have to see that there is no any condition on this particular scheme. Okay, so this is an advantage, right? So this is unconditionally stable. This is unconditionally stable. Okay, so you don't have any condition. You do not need any condition on delta t. You do not need any condition on delta x. Okay, no condition. No condition on delta x. No condition required. But in previous case, you had to really worry about delta t and delta x. Okay. But also from computational point of view, you cannot specify any delta t and any delta x. Okay. So even though these schemes are unconditionally stable, you will have to be reasonable. Okay. This delta t cannot be like 1000, 2000 like that. Delta x cannot be like 1000, 2000 like that. Huh? It can be reasonably, reasonable such a way that you do not have too much inaccuracy in your solution or too much round of error in your solution. Though if you take very small x delta x, you will have multiple calculations involved in your simulation, so they might lead to some sort of round of error. Okay, but the thing is it is unconditionally stable and you do not have a limit on delta t delta x. That you please show using von Neumann stability analysis, and in the next class we will see again this discretization and how to solve this 1D heat transfer and unsteady heat transfer equation using implicit scheme. Okay, we'll see the algorithm for this to solve. Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow.